All right. We back with another one for y'all today. Man, listen. All right. Let's be honest here. I have autism. All right. I got the tism. And with the tism comes the fact that when somebody does retarded math, I have to go, you fucking idiot. That's not how math works. So, CNBC put out this, we're going to call it an article, okay? And it says real U.S. debt levels could be 2,000% of economy, a Wall Street report suggests. The measurement will be 2,000% of GDP, okay? That's what we're actually saying here, okay? So, total U.S. debt, including all forms of government, state, local, financial, and entitlement liabilities, comes close to $2,000% of GDP, according to A.B. Bernstein. The biggest potential load comes from entitlements, but is being pressured from high levels of federal government debt as well. The warnings about potential debt hazards come as the total federal debt outstanding has surged to $22.5 trillion. A debt reform advocate says now is the time for the U.S. to tackle the issue before recession hits. Well, yeah, you're not lying. See, and here's the problem. All right, here's the problem. See, let's say you make full $1,000 a month. All right, and your debts. Say you got a fucking $1,800 a month mortgage. Say you have a $600 or $700 a month. You know what I'm saying? Fucking car payment. You paying $200 a month for your fucking car insurance. Right? Say you standing here, you got to pay for gas to get to work. You got electricity. You got fucking gas bills. You got water bills. You got all the things that go into this type of shit, right? And in having all of these things, right, you end up on a level of where, you're spending $3,000 a month. All right. And that leaves you with $1,000 left to put groceries on the table. You know what I'm saying? And extracurricular bullshit. But the problem is that say you end up fucking around and losing your job and you got to downgrade to a job that pays $2,000 a month. So you're making half of what you used to make, or even 3/4. Now you starving. Now you in a bad situation. And that's the problem where we come to with the U.S. government and its fucking debts, right? When you're running 120, 130, 140% really fucking of, your total tax receipts every year. When you have a recession, it makes it even fucking worse because you were borrowing in good times, right? And if you're borrowing in good times, then when the bad times come, you're gonna be fucking starving and having to go kill people to get money out. Just is what it is. So, let's read this article. The total potential debt for U.S. by one all-encompassing measure is running close to 2,000% of GDP. According to analysis, it suggests danger, but also cautions against reading too much into the level. Yeah, if you're running 1,000% of GDP, 1,000, that's mind-boggling fucking numbers. 1,000% of GDP, because that's 10 times 100, right? 100% of GDP is 18 trillion, right? And if you're in debt, 1,000% of that's 180,000 fucking dollars. That's like making 18 grand a year and being 180 grand in debt. There is no way to dig yourself out from that, okay? Because you can only put so much of your money into that fucking debt every fucking year. A.B. Bernstein came up with this calculation of 1,832% to be exact. And he's fucking wrong, all right? The real number is not that. By including, not only traditional levels of public debt, but like bonds, but also financial debt and all of its complexities, as well as future obligations for so-called entitlement programs like Social Security, Medicare, and public pensions. All right. And see, here's the problem. The government shouldn't have to be worried about fucking financial debt or private debt or anything of this nature because, that's not how the fuck governments work. The government isn't responsible for what the fuck it is you do. But the problem is we put them on the goddamn hook because the public debt and the fucking financial debts that we have in this nation are so tied into one another that you end up having, like, say, like a financial institution goes down, all of a sudden your 401k is gone. And now you have millions of fucking people who can't goddamn retire. That's a fucking problem. And then they all go into goddamn public dole and, like, fucking, they end up losing their fucking house. And, like, the whole thing, it turns into a giant spiraling fucking mess because of the fact that these fucking banks are fucking completely over leveraged. And they're trying to hold together a system that legitimately shouldn't even really be held together. We should have let this motherfucker collapse a long time ago. But we refuse to do this. We keep fucking throwing in goddamn money to bail these motherfuckers out. You know what I mean? Because the goddamn baby boomers vote. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And we're going to end up with fucking socialism if we fucking don't. But the reality is we already have fucking socialism. Anyway, the conceptual difference is important to acknowledge because this lens is often used by those who wish to paint a dire picture about debt. Philip Carlson Slezak, chief U.S. economist at A.B. Bernstein, said in a report, while the picture is dire, such numbers don't prove that we are doomed or that a debt crisis is inevitable. No, the fuck it doesn't. Like, yo, we're going to have less population than we had now. And we're going to try to be paying off the same amount of debt. You're, what, nigga? Shut up. You're fucking dumb. Crisis measures cut both ways. Sometimes a seemingly smaller level of debt, could cause outside problems during the times of economic stress, such as during financial crisis, and larger levels of debt can be sustained so long as other conditions like leverage levels or debt to capital are manageable. All right, look. When the whole world is having less children, okay, and there's not going to be anybody to pay the fucking debt because nobody's going to be goddamn working, and then you have automation eliminating jobs, these debt levels are not sustainable long term. It's that fucking simple. U.S. debt is large and it's growing, but if we want to think about debt problems in any sector, sovereign households, firms, or financials, the conditions rather than levels are more significant. You're right about that, but you're wrong about that. You know what I mean? Because conditions and levels are kind of fucking important. Like, you can't have the government being, you know what I mean, legitimately, like when you actually look at, like, the federal debt as far as, like, how much you owe this fucking moment and you're making payments on right now. If that shit was $100 trillion, we would have been collapsed. You know what I'm saying? But we're not there. Like, when we say, like, the government's $100 trillion in fucking debt and owes this much money, we're thinking about it, like, stretched out over 30 years of what obligations it's going to have. And that's why this math in this motherfucker is completely wrong. All right? So, we got profoundly negative effects. The warnings about potential debt hazards has come as total federal debt outstanding has surged to $22.5 trillion, or about 106% of GDP, excluding intergovernmental obligations held by the public is $16.7 trillion, or 78% of GDP. The latter total considered to be more relevant as an economic burden is likely to rise to 105% by 2028. However, the CBO notes that the numbers are subject to revision depending on how government policies play out. No, it's not. No, it's not. And I mean, because, like, they're not going to get rid of these socialist measures, especially in the populist fucking, political fucking shit that we have going on right now. Globally, we have become over-reliant on borrowing as a solution for everything. Political excuses abound for why it doesn't matter, which just clearly isn't the case, said Maya McGinnis, president of the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, a bipartisan committee of legislators, business leaders, and economists that counts former Federal Reserve chairs Paul Volcker, Janet Yellen among its members. We are quickly approaching a situation where we have dug ourselves a debt hole which are going to have profoundly negative effects on the economy for probably decades going forward, McGinnis added. In its calculation, A.B. Bernstein pulls in debt from a variety of services and compares it to GDP as follows. 100% of GDP using federal, state, and local government debt combined. Absolutely. 150% for households and firms. So right there, we're at 250%. 450% for financial debts, which carries conceptual issues and risks, namely that debt held by financial firms often represents a potential and worst-case scenario involving various derivative instruments that can carry high notional values that are unlikely to ever be realized. You're right. You're right. You know what I'm saying? You're absolutely right about that. So that'll, that puts us at what? 600, 700, 27% for trust for social insurance programs. 484, which values all the promises from current social insurance programs, right? So that one there, that's so far we're at 700. This will put us at 7 plus 4 is 11 plus 8 is that's 11 8 for fucking shit. That's 1180 for probably right around 1200% of GDP. Now, this one here is the one that I go, you're fucking retarded. Why are you even naming this? This is unnecessary. Which 633%, which tallies up an infinite horizon of obligations for social programs rather than the traditional 75 years used for computations. No. No, all right? You can't do that. You're making... No, all right? That's not real math. That's not how math works, okay? You have to have an ending to the number. All right? No, dumb fucks. Like, for fuck's sake. Yo, Jesus Christ. Social programs, infinite horizons, promises for current social insurance programs, financial debt, household firms, and it shows you the graph right here. Anyway, right. The total that gets a debt load around 2,000% mark, though, Carlson points out that different debt carries different risk. A default on U.S. Treasury bonds would be catastrophic to the global economy, whereas changes in policies, while painful to those whose future benefits were diminished, would barely register on the economic horizon, he wrote. Impact on the individual parts of the economy would vary. Moody's Investors Service recently warned that an already growing number of junk-related companies could swell dramatically in the next downturn, substantially increasing default risk. Yeah. Hell, Ford just got downgraded to fucking junk status. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. So... in the next credit cycle downturn, then, the generally lower credit quality of today's speculative grade population means that the default count could exceed the Great Recession peak of 14% of all related issuers, Christina Magic, a Moody's senior vice president, said in a statement. Currently, though, credit default rates remain low as economic conditions prove favorable. Similarly, on a macro level, recession fears have proven unwarranted so far as growth continues, albeit at a slower pace than in 2018. McGinnis of the CRFB said that now is the time then for the country to start doing something about the debt situation. First, actually about like fucking 40 years ago is when we should have started doing something about the goddamn debt situation. First, you have politicians level with voters instead of promising freebies. Second, you reckon... 54% of the electorate are fucking women. You cannot tell them we're going to take your shit away from you. All right? Women's only fucking sole purpose is to gain fucking stability and the ability to be okay for themselves and their fucking children. That is their whole purpose in life. And that's how they vote. How do you think we've ended up as socialist as we fucking have? Legitimately, you cannot take away people's free shit. They will riot in the streets. Like I've heard people go, I paid into Social Security. You didn't pay in the amount that you're taking out, motherfucker. All right? At this point now, we are fucking providing for you. You're living off my tax dollars. The fuck out of here. I'm supporting like 3 fucking Social Security people a fucking month. And this is not fucking positive. See here. Anyway. Yeah. Oh, that's the end of the article. Okay, cool. Anyway, man. Yeah, look. I wanted to bring this to y'all because I thought it was cool. I thought it was important for y'all to see. And, my autism fucking acted up. So it is what it is. In the meantime, man, I'm gonna holler at y'all motherfuckers. Enjoy y'all fucking days. I gotta go make some fucking money so I can get some goddamn smokes and shit and handle my business. I'ma holla at y'all. Peace.